All right. I'm seeing the chat going off, and I'm just going to go ahead and just formally get us started. We're going to have a couple folks just kind of trickling in. So again, as you come in, just please settle in. But just wanting to welcome everybody here today to the Opportunity Projects for Cities Demo Day 2024. It is our fourth demo day. We are so honored to have you here today to join us and celebrate the incredible teams who have poured so much time, effort, and care into their work. This year, we have four incredible TOPC participants to spotlight from Akron, Ohio, Macon-Bibb County, Georgia, Miami-Dade County, Florida, St. Paul and Ramsey County from Minnesota. And they've done incredible, exceptional work over the last 20 weeks plus to develop digital tools that are going to support their residents. So you're all in for a treat. Now, before we formally get started, I'm going to introduce myself. My name is Giselle Cordero, she, her, and I'm a program manager here at the Center for Public Impact. I've had the pleasure of overseeing the TOPC program alongside Harold Moore from the Beck Center for Social Impact and Innovation at Georgetown University for this cycle, and I will be your MC, so you are going to see a lot of me today. A quick note, today's event is being recorded, and we'll be sharing the recording with you all next week. So you'll get a chance to go ahead and take a look at this next week. So just feel free to enjoy, take any notes if you want. And I just want to take a quick moment to shout you all out. We have a wonderful array of attendees from different parts of the country, possibly even the world, here with us today. So just thank you for your time, your support, and just thank you for tuning in. And before we share more about the TOPC program participants and their products, we actually want to hear from you all in the chat with a little fun icebreaker. So let's go to the next slide and make sure to use the chat function and introduce yourself, tell us where you're from, and then share with us, if you could invent a digital tool to solve an everyday problem, what would that be? Also, bonus points if you give it a name. I'll give you all a few seconds to brainstorm. Please drop it in the chat. Feel free to interact, and then I'll call some of them out so that we can hear of the incredible ideas that you all have. I've been thinking about this for a while. So I think for me, I've gotten really into cooking lately, and I'm more than sure that this exists somewhere else, but I would create a smart grocery planner that I can take photos of my pantry and it can give me meal ideas, meal options, and then create shopping lists for me to make it much easier to adults and take care of food. Does anyone else have anything they want to share in the chat? Please feel free to drop it in. I'm seeing a couple of different notes. I'm seeing John from Miami. I'm seeing Susan. I see here a couple of great ideas. So I'm going to let those come in and I'll voice them over. All right. So I'm seeing here, good evening from Warsaw. Welcome, welcome. From Ross, I say here, get my team to use the digital tools that I'm always proposing to them. Maybe call the digital gateway. Someone says there's a smart refrigerator. Thank you, Crystal. I'm going to look into that for sure. I see here mom's secretary, keeping everyone on schedule and where they are supposed to be. That's a great idea, Melissa. Jane says a live bus tracker so that it's easier to take the bus in my city. +1 on that. I'm from New York, New Jersey, and things are always delayed. I'm seeing hello from Indiana. Welcome, welcome. George says Uber, but instead of taking you somewhere, someone brings you mozzarella sticks. I'm seeing hi from San Francisco, full integrations to do things and schedule. Hi from DC, Seattle, New York City. From Sarah, I'm seeing here the waste management app to dispose and recycle large volumes of household waste correctly. I'm trying to figure this out for a home project. That's a great idea. I see here from a couple folks an app to schedule weekly activities based on lifestyle. So thank you all so much for sharing. Please keep throwing things in the chat on here. I'm seeing Luke also interact. Oh, thank you, Pritesh, for sending sending some YouTube links. So keep introducing yourselves, keep interacting. And while we do that, let me actually go ahead and run through the agenda for today. So first up, I'm actually going to go ahead and share a little bit about the TOPC program. our impact, and the many wonderful partners that really make this program possible. Then we're going to go ahead and hear from our wonderful keynote speaker, Luke Keller, who's a Chief Innovation Officer at the U.S. Census Bureau. And then we're going to dive a little bit deeper with our municipalities and actually get to see their product demos. You're going to get a chance to hear from each member of this year's cohort, along with government leaders, community organizations, and our Google.org technologists. And after demos, we have Lynn Murphy from the Knight Foundation joining us for a closing reflection before we share a couple things that are coming down the road from TOPC. Now, I do want to note here that it's really important that you all know that today we are really going to be demoing MVPs. And what that is those are minimal viable products. They're digital tools that are a prototype. It's really the first step of much larger ongoing projects and part of larger initiatives. So these are going to continue to be refined, and they're really just a springboard for that future refinement. Let's go ahead and jump into a little bit more about what TOPC is and what it does. So the top opportunity programs for cities, we bring together diverse teams, local government innovators, community leaders, and technologists to co-create digital tools, again, prototypes, that use open data to tackle local challenges. With the support of CPI coaches, shout out Matt, Lily Tomlin, and the Beck team, all these teams follow a 20-week plus journey that is just as much about skill building as it is product building. And by the end, they create valuable tools and develop practices for listening and then also co-creating with residents. So as you can see on this slide throughout the program, teams build skills in a couple of different ways. They collaborate with residents to use human-centered design and connect with them, and they extract those insights to ensure that their projects reflect the community priorities. So those prototypes are refined based on resident feedback. Two, they build cross-sector partnerships, and each project is a complete team effort. Local governments provide the long-term vision and sustainability. The community partners act as a bridge to the community. Google.org volunteers provide technical expertise. Shout out to them for their work. And again, it really just makes a powerful partnership that ensures practical, long-term, and sustainable solutions. And last but not least, we also build capacity for digital innovation. Teams develop digital tools using open data, creating solutions that can be replicated and hopefully scaled with plans for sustainability beyond the program. Each year, we aim to help teams deepen their work with communities, making these skills a core foundational part of how governments serve residents. Ultimately, really what we hope is that governments build a culture of accessibility that strengthens trust with residents and lays the foundation for lasting community innovation. So now that you have a sense of how the program works, let's go ahead and discuss our reach. Next slide, please. Lovely, thank you. So as you can see on the map here, we have been around the country for a while. Since our pilot in 2021, TOPC has worked with 8 local governments across the country, from Akron to Detroit, Miami-Dade County, Macon-Bibb County, Long Beach, San Jose, St. Paul, and Ramsey County. And these municipalities have participated in this program across multiple years, like Miami, like Macon-Bibb, like Akron, and they represent various departments reflecting really diverse local needs. And these challenges that they work on range from climate resiliency to housing to economic development. It's really a true honor to work and learn alongside these cities and these counties over the years, and also welcome new participants along the journey who are pursuing similar work. I want to take a quick moment to acknowledge everyone actually here in the audience. We can't see each other, it's a webinar, and I know we can't talk to one another, but it's just so nice to see such a wonderful group here of over 100 people. We are joined by dedicated leaders from across different sectors, like our TOPC alumni, other CPI program participants, community organizations from civic tech to philanthropy, Knight, Bloomberg, Dell, Ford, and so many different community organizations. So you are all truly a part of what makes this ecosystem so vibrant and what makes this community so strong. So thank you for your curiosity, your commitment to public impact, and also supporting these teams by being here today. So let's jump into talk about our impact before we talk about the program demos. So over the last 4 years, we really have expanded our reach, and we've learned so much along the way. So since our program in 2021, we have reached over 1,800 residents through user research and user testing. And what does that mean? That means surveys, that means focus groups, that means interviews, and those are used to refine the actual prototype that is built. We've engaged over 120 local government employees through our programming. They represent over 8 municipalities, over 35 departments, and we've partnered with over 20 community-based organizations. And these partnerships really have been so integral in ensuring resident and community needs are a part of this TOPC journey. So just a big thank you to all the practitioners, the community partners, the volunteers, the technologists, and all the residents who make this program what it is and as impactful as what we're seeing today. And with that, let's go ahead and talk about our partnerships, because TOPC, as you have already heard, is truly a team effort. I want to highlight and thank the many partners who make this work possible. So first and foremost, our deepest gratitude to the Knight Foundation. Their generous support is what enables us to actually do this work for the last few years. And they are committed to informed and engaged communities, which is the heart of this program. So special thanks to the Knight Foundation and their team, from Kelly to John, Lynn, Kyle, Marta, and so many more behind the scenes who champion this work every single day, externally, but also behind the scenes. Next, we're immensely grateful for Google.org, whose technical expertise is essential to the TOPC program. Google.org provides pro bono support to an incredible team of product managers, software engineers, UX researchers, UX designers, and so much more. They directly staff each core team, and they bring technical knowledge and the skills to transform the ideas that these teams have into real, soon-to-be impactful projects. And finally, the day-to-day administration is a joint effort between the Center for Public Impact and the Beck Center for Social Impact and Innovation. Let me share a little bit more about what CPI is. So here at the Center for Public Impact, we act as a learning partner for governments. We center on relationship building and community-based learning, and we believe that tackling complex challenges requires government to prioritize relationships and continuous learning. And we believe that together we can reimagine government so that it serves everyone. In TOPC, CPI provides targeted coaching and facilitation to teams around community engagement and knowledge sharing. And again, a shout out to our coaches, Matt Collins, Tom Islam, and Lily Payton. And shout out to all the incredible leaders who came before us and who started this program, from Josh, Kate, Pierre, Susan at CPI, to so many others who keep cheering us on. And finally, our partner organization, the Beck Center. They advise on product development, on data governance, on civic tech, and so much more. And their support really has been so instrumental to our teams. We're so excited for their partnerships. So I'm actually going to go ahead and pass it over to Harold, who's going to go ahead and introduce himself a little bit more.
Hey y'all, I am Harold Moore. I've had the pleasure of working on the Opportunity Project for Cities, representing Georgetown's Beck Center for Social Impact and Innovation. My role is primarily concerned with product and program management. A little about the Beck Center. Alberto and Olga Maria Beck founded the Beck Center at Georgetown in 2014. We're celebrating 10 years of our mission of using data, design, technology, and policy as instruments for equitable social change. We pursue impact at scale, promising practices, a culture of experimentation, and a supportive community. So our work at the Beck Center is made up of several projects: the Digital Services Network, the Digital Benefits Network, Data Labs, and many others. And our work in TOPC is another outlet for that work, where we contribute community and technical assistance and subject matter expertise to a space where governments and communities can validate their assumptions, engage residents, and develop MVPs of digital solutions. I'll close by just giving a quick shout out to some of the members of the Beck team. Katya Abajan, one of our founding members here, Ashley, Jessica, and Gerard in our communications department. Student analysts through the years, including Ellen Naughton, Jacqueline Carr, and Kate Christie. Our fantastic researcher, Ilham Ali. And then I would be remiss if I didn't note the leadership of our executive director, Lynn Overman, who you'll be hearing a bit more from a little bit later in the program. Welcome again from the Beck Center. Thank you to all of our partners on this project.
Thank you. I'm going to go ahead now and bring Lavona in to share a little bit more about Google.org.
Thank you so much, Harold, for that, and Giselle, and thank you for having me. My name is Labona Cabeda, and I am a 6 month full-time assignment here with Google.org to oversee TOPC project. As it's been mentioned, Google.org is just a philanthropic arm of Google. We've been solving, humanity challenges for 2 decades with accelerating positive social and economical impact. We combine our products, our research, leveraging technical innovation to support these communities and make information available really for everyone globally. Next, please. So as I mentioned, Google.org brings the best of our employees to do discovery, research, and develop the customized digital tool that addresses the problem statements that are specifically validated by each municipality. We've been in partnership, as you heard, with Beck and Knight Foundation and CPI now, 4 years, and cannot thank them enough for the collaboration because, again, this is only possible because of the team effort and the commitment at all levels. And then through our full-time fellowship and our part-time, what we call skill-based volunteer programs, we embed these Google employees up to 6 months to partner with the cities and counties, build these digital products, but really to also focus on sustainability and having a longer lasting impact. So we build in roadmaps as to some things that they could be thinking about and doing that they could elaborate on and do additional investments to make this really impactful for the citizens, which is really the focus here for us. As you can see, my two other colleagues, Luke and Roger, we are what we're considered full-time, volunteers here on the pro bono, and we kind of go over all 4 municipalities for the project with some specific roles to support this across all of the cities and counties. We obviously have taken lessons from all these experiences we've had with the other cohorts, which has totally improved, our engagement. And we really want to thank the cities and counties for their commitment and hard work. It's truly for all of us personally, and I hear it from other Google employees. It's been really a growth opportunity for all of us, and really appreciate everyone's commitment. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Labona. Thank you, Harold. Again, this is really a program of partnerships, and we are so grateful to partner with Beck, with Google, and receive support from Knight. We couldn't be here without you all. So now that you've learned a little bit more about TOPC, I'm going to go ahead and start transitioning us over into our keynote address today. So to welcome our keynote, I'm going to introduce Lynn Overman, the Executive Director at the Beck Center, who's going to introduce our keynote. Lynn, over to you.
Thanks so much, Giselle. It is great to be here. I'll be honest, at this point, it almost feels like a family reunion. We've had the joy of working with each city on today's call in past cohorts, and it's really exciting to see the results of all of your hard work and the community collaborations that have built over time. What I'm very excited about before I get to our amazing keynote speaker is just that each city has tackled a different problem, but the common threads that exist across all of these projects that really highlight the power of the Opportunity Project for cities. And to me, it's 2 things. One is the deep and meaningful collaboration and contribution from the community partners who engaged with their local government. And 2, the innovative and forward-leaning projects that will help meet concrete and important needs for residents. So I know you're going to be hearing extensively from each of the city as they present out on all of their work, but I did want to highlight just a couple of the collaborations and efforts. Miami, where I will confess I lived for 10 years, so I have a slight bias towards, and it's such a great city. They worked on a LIHEAP process modernization project, which is really a critical benefit to support those who need help with their energy bills. I did want to call out George Valens, who has been working with TOPC for 3 years now, and the Women's Fund of Miami, which is an exciting collaboration in that city that will really help their residents access critical services and benefits. We were also really excited to welcome Akron back for their 2nd year of working with TOPC, and excited to see their new tree canopy project. In their 2nd year, Akron once again knocked it out of the park on their community engagement. They worked with hundreds of residents to get ideas around this tree canopy and worked closely with Keep Akron Beautiful, a local nonprofit organization. I do want to particularly call out the enthusiasm of the Director of Sustainability, Casey Shevlin's support for this project, which really helped drive the project forward. And it was a great way to welcome the new mayor of Akron to show what these types of community collaborations and how you can leverage digital tools and digital services to meet identified community needs. St. Paul also rejoined us after a few years to work on the critical issue of matching workers to the growing economy and the growing green jobs opportunities. It's just a really great and exciting project because I think it highlights the power of a county government working with a local government. Both of these governments bring critical components of collaboration to making this project work effectively, and wanted to particularly highlight the relationship with the Ramsey County Goodwill, Liz Boyer, Rachel Monar, Russ Start, and Ling Becker, who have all provided great opportunities to collaborate across the city, county, and nonprofit sector. And then finally, I would be remiss if I didn't call out Macon, Georgia. The Knight Foundation invited me to visit Macon early on, and I was just absolutely blown away by the tight collaboration between Newtown, which is their nonprofit partner, Kai Fan, Dr. Moffat, who has endless amounts of energy. I am envious. Barbara Marlin, and have been working with TOPC for 3 years and have really just grown tremendously collectively. They started off with a project focused on blight remediation 3 years ago and now have moved in very seamlessly to their work on business licensing. These cities have all been a core part of our 4 years of collaboration across the Opportunity Project for City, along with our wonderful partners at CPI and Google.org, who make all of this possible. We are so proud of this project, and we are excited and eager for all of you to hear about the great work from the cities. But before we get there, I am absolutely thrilled to be able to introduce Luke Keller, the Chief Innovation Officer at the U.S. Census Bureau. Luke currently serves as the CIO and Chief of Innovation Strategy at the U.S. Census Bureau, where he leads initiatives to enhance data-driven services through emerging technologies. As Chief Innovation Officer, Luke is responsible for growing the Census Bureau's innovation portfolio and supporting enterprise-wide technology capacity building. And just a quick side note, many of you may know, but the Opportunity Project for Cities was modeled off of an innovation that emerged from the Census Bureau, the Opportunity Project. And so we are very much following in the footsteps of the Census Bureau and all of the innovation that they helped launch. Before joining the Census Bureau, Luke co-founded XD, an emerging technologies group advancing the delivery of data-driven services through new and transformative technologies at the Census Bureau. Luke also founded the Emerging Technology Fellowship at XD, bringing specialized technology experts to projects in the U.S. government. Luke's breadth of experience truly spans across various industries. Before joining government, Luke was a senior product manager and full-stack developer in the education sector. Today, Luke will share many exciting insights from his multifaceted career. Please join me in welcoming Luke Keller. And Luke, thank you so much for spending time with us today.
Of course. Thanks for that lovely introduction, Lynn. Let me see if I can get my screen sharing working here. All right. Can everybody see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Thanks, Giselle. All righty. Again, thank you everybody so much for joining today. I'm a huge fan of this project. As Lynn mentioned, the Opportunity Project started with the Department of Commerce and the U.S. Census Bureau. And I actually started my career working with local governments as a landscape architect and urban planner. So this project is really near and dear to my heart. And I'm just super excited that everyone's so enthusiastic about this project. And, from people who are just, participating in the call today, just checking out what's going on, to all the project teams that put in so much work, all the local and county government officials who are making this event possible. And of course, all the partners, Knight Foundation, Google.org, the Beck Center, and of course, the Center for Public Impact, who make, TOPC possible. Thank you so much for all the wonderful work you do. Really excited to see the demos that are here today. So as I mentioned, one thing that, folks find, I guess, very interesting about my experience in terms of how, where I started and how I got to where I am today, is that I actually started my career as a landscape architect. And, oftentimes people ask me, how did you go from landscape architecture to, self-taught engineer, to a full stack engineer, to a technologist in government? It's a very strange journey. I wish I could say this was all super intentional and like this was like all part of the plan, but I assure you it wasn't. But one way I like to make sense of these things is to think about like the lessons I learned as I was studying to be a landscape architect and how they impact really my views about, cultivating innovation and what we're doing at the Census Bureau and how we're trying to enable our staff to work better with our communities, our constituents, across the country. And so one way I think about that is through, how we manage and think about ecosystems broadly. So I'm sure folks on the call have heard about this before, but there are many ways, there are many kind of ways, different ways that ecosystems can materialize. One of which is through what we call a monoculture. It's this idea that an ecosystem could be dominated by a single plant species. Now you might be thinking like, how is this relevant to TOPC? Stick with me. I'll show you how. So when you think about different ways that ecosystems come together, when you think about ways that you might even like say cultivate innovations, I think monocultures are really interesting kind of parallel here, right? Monocultures are really fascinating, and frankly, one of the reasons why we're even able to live in the society we have today. If you look at, monoculture ecosystems like industrial agriculture, right? The only way we can feed 8 billion plus people on the planet is by having this singular focus on growing as many crops as we possibly can, as efficiently as possible, right? This shows tremendous focus, tremendous alignment around this singular goal, right? Which is we have to feed people. But there's a consequence to that, right? When you think about building kind of resilient organizations or, kind of cultivating innovation in this larger lens, monocultures have a significant challenge, right? Which is it represents this ideology that, putting all of our eggs in one basket is a great idea. On the one hand, if things work out, it's fantastic. On the other hand, when you look at what happens in natural ecosystems, when there's a tremendous dependency on a singular element, what you find is that these ecosystems are actually susceptible to blight, disease, and require tremendous, intense amount of resources to maintain. So folks on the call who are sort of botanists or historians in sort of landscape botany in the U.S. might know about the sort of the tale of the American chestnut. It was said at one point that a squirrel could walk from New England to Georgia on the branches of an American chestnut tree, right? That's how many there were here. But when we introduced new species of plants from different regions like Asia, South America, we also unintentionally introduced blight, introduced pests and things that really fed on the American chestnut that they weren't prepared to really combat. And so today, that's why this tree is so rare in our landscapes. And actually, there's a tremendous amount of work, separate talk behind the scenes of a lot of really talented scientists trying to figure out how to repopulate that tree species throughout the US. But it's an interesting tale because what it demonstrates is that on the one hand, having this tunnel vision towards a singular goal can be an incredibly powerful thing. Think about how we put a man on the moon, right? How many individuals at all levels of government, in the private sector, in manufacturing and academia did take to really take on this Herculean effort to put somebody on the moon, right? It's incredible. On the other hand, what happens when organizations have a singular focus? What are we missing, right? I think that's something, we're often asking ourselves, particularly at the Census Bureau, right? Like if we just follow the same sort of steps and same kind of traditional ways that we develop ideas and think about the way that we're delivering value to our constituents, if we're not considering sort of the full breadth of opportunity, right, that's out there, if we're not finding ways to really bring in ideas from different places for how we can deliver value, we're leaving a lot on the table. So it really introduces this interesting question, which is, how do we cultivate a wider lens? And so first, I think it's about acknowledging that, really we are all part of a very complex ecosystem, right? So this is about really about acknowledging that there's a diversity of people, thought, and technologies that really impact the way the way that government delivers value to people broadly, right? We are surrounded by really a changing world that is constantly in flux. And it seems like now more than ever, it's changing a lot faster than it used to, right? Which is both a good thing and a bad thing. But I think ultimately for government, the question we need to be asking ourselves is, how can we adapt more quickly to this constant state of flux? And so one way, the way I like to think about this, again, looking back on my previous experience in landscape architecture, is thinking about our roles as cultivators as opposed to individuals trying to control outcomes, right? So how do we create and hold space for new ideas to thrive, right? Think about it as managing an ecosystem of innovation and ideas, right? So how can we put the right conditions in place that enable a diversity of ideas to be sourced and to thrive? So what kinds of processes, programs, initiatives, public events, et cetera, do we need to kind of be thinking about? And also, what kinds of guardrails do we need to put in place? This is another important aspect to this. It's not just about pure generation. It's also about how do we make sure that the kind of ideas we're sourcing, the things we're working on are relevant to our constituents? How do we make sure they're aligned with our community's values, right? So these are two very important aspects to thinking about ourselves as sort of cultivators as opposed to generators of innovation ourselves internally, right? And this is one of the reasons why I think Top Cities and Top broadly really is such a valuable program. It's an exemplar of open innovation, right? Which is this idea that innovation doesn't just have to come from internal organizations or internal staff, or in our case, it doesn't have to just come from government officials, but it's really about encouraging a diversity of ideas and an ebb and flow of ideas and sourcing those ideas from all corners of the communities that we serve, right? So today you're going to see some really awesome demos. I'm super excited about the municipalities that are participating today. You're going to see demos that really demonstrate the power of human-centered design as a tool for cultivation. So if you're not familiar, as Giselle mentioned, human-centered design is essentially a way for us to make sure that we are sourcing the real challenges that are facing our communities, that we are listening closely and intently to what those challenges are and how we can build solutions that align with those challenges. You're going to see that each of these projects really represents a partnership between government officials, our communities, technologists, and everybody in between so that we can build people-focused products that demonstrate really how government can work better for everyone. So when you think about what you're going to see today, Giselle mentioned that you're going to see minimum viable products. Of course, Giselle, you define that as really products that use minimum amount of resources to sort of demonstrate in a proof of concept, right? What's possible, right? Like demonstrating the art of the possible. To take it back to like my nature metaphor, if you will, think of these projects as saplings, right? We don't know what's going to work and what's not going to work. But what we do know is knowing the answer to that question is incredibly important and valuable. And it's a way for us as government officials and really stewards of taxpayer dollars to most effectively identify where should we be investing our time and our resources. And that's why programs like Top Cities are so, so important. So I'm really excited for what's about to come. I don't want to hold up anybody any longer, but I just wanted to say, thank you so much for participating. If you were on a project team, or whether you're on a project team or you're really just tuning in today, every amount of support that you're giving to this program matters. It's such an incredibly important initiative, and I'm so excited to see the demos. And of course, if you want to contact me for any reason whatsoever, my contact information is on the slide. Thank you so much for having me. And without further ado, we may continue the event. Thanks, everybody. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Luke, for those wonderful, inspiring words. Again, it's truly an honor having you here. And as you all heard, Top Cities was indeed inspired by the federal TOP program that is run and led by the U.S. Census Bureau. And that has now began over a decade ago. So we're just really grateful to have Luke here today. His career exemplifies a really deep commitment to harnessing technology for social impact. So thank you for your time. And just shortly, we are going to be getting into the team demos. I'm actually going to go ahead and preview our program journey just to give a little bit more context into the presentations that you're going to be seeing today. I'm also going to encourage everybody, as you're going through these presentations, please feel free to use the chat, share with us your thoughts, and while we are demoing, you can also use the Q&A function. So with that, I think we are just sorting out our presentation, but I'm just going to go ahead and voice over what TOPC is, what the journey is, to give some context before our demos. So let's jump to the next slide so you can actually see the journey that all the participants have been on. So again, local government leaders, community partners, and technologists over the course of 20+ weeks. And now you are seeing the plus on the left and on the right. So on the far left side, you'll see that we have an onboarding period, and this is really a space where government teams start to form their teams, start to identify the key issue that they might want to tackle, start to assess what data exists and also what data does not exist. From there, the formal program launches in phases 1, 2, and 3, which is the core of the program, where they find a community partner, they start to go out into the community to understand the problems better. They brainstorm and ideate solutions and start giving shape to the prototype that they want to build. And then Phase 3 is today. This is a community showcase. It's a huge part of our work, and it's really just to share the efforts back with all the folks who have just been a part of this process. And after today's showcase, we are going to be helping teams plan for long-term sustainability and technical transition of the tool. So our goal at TOPC is really to foster a culture of government transparency and accessibility that strengthens public trust, amplifies resident voices, but also leads to lasting digital governance tools. And now that you know what our program is all about, here are the team demos for today. We are going to be starting with our St. Paul and Ramsey County team, followed by Miami-Dade, Macon-Bibb, and Akron. You can expect to hear from, again, a range of folks, and we'll have time for Q&A right after the demo. So as we're going through these presentations, feel free to interact in the chat. Feel free to use reactions. Feel free to use the Q&A function. I will be moderating that part. And again, just a little disclaimer. Today's demos really are just first steps. Each team has worked so incredibly hard over the last 20 weeks to develop these MVPs, and they're a testament to the vision, the commitment, and the countless hours of work that these teams have put in. So we're excited to showcase what they've done so far. Be kind, ask questions, engage, and let's get started. So our first team today, next slide please, is going to be the St. Paul and Ramsey team from Minnesota. I'm gonna ask the team on my end to just start putting your cameras on so we could spotlight you. But this team is looking to increase awareness and access to climate reducing trade jobs to address the gap in career opportunities for residents in the county. You're gonna hear from a range of folks like Rachel Molinar, who is the interim planning manager at Ramsey County and a TOPC project lead. You're going to hear from Liz Boyer, the climate action coordinator for St. Paul, also a project lead. You're going to hear from Cassandra Avery, senior workforce development manager at Goodwill Easter Seals, who is a community partner. Wanda Garrido Rojas, who is a senior software engineer at Google, who helped develop this product. And this cross-municipal team really has focused on creating this tool that's going to expand resident access to green trade careers. So they're going to leverage federal funding to help reduce these historical inequities that have existed for so long. So I'm going to go ahead now and hand it off to the team to formally get us started. And welcome, welcome.
Thanks, Giselle. We are excited to present to you all today about the work that we've been doing with TOPC. As Giselle said, my name is Rachel Molinar. I work as the interim planning manager at Ramsey County Workforce Solutions, and I'll let my friends introduce themselves as well.
I'm Liz Boyer. I'm the climate action coordinator for the city of St. Paul.
I'm Cassandra Avery. I work at Goodwill Easter Seals, Minnesota as a senior workforce development manager.
And I'm Wanda. I'm an engineer at Google.
All right, so we'll go to the next page. You can just quickly see who else is on our team. So that is the group that we have been working diligently on this project together. Really grateful for the partnership between St. Paul and Goodwill. We did do this project sort of under the jurisdiction of our Ramsey County Workforce Innovation Board, which is a joint power agreement between the city of St. Paul and Ramsey County. So if we go to the next slide, we'll start a little bit with what is the problem that we were seeking to unpack. So sort of three buckets in terms of the problems, really focusing on recruitment challenges. So employers in our region are having challenges finding workers to support their current business needs, particularly in kind of the construction and green energy pathways. Folks on the call maybe know Minnesota has extremely bad racial equity disparities, particularly in unemployment, wealth, income, and financial mobility. And so we really are trying to think about how we use sort of incoming resources in the emerging sector in green construction and green energy, both to improve our community's environment and the effects of climate change, but also improve the financial situation of our residents who live here. I think we go to the next slide.
And so, given all of that, this is happening in this environment of incredible current and projected growth for clean energy and green construction jobs. These tend to be high quality, family sustaining careers with, higher than average wages for the area. At the same time, we have been seeing significant investments coming into our area that are bringing in new resources and will continue to further these trends in the coming years. Concurrently, as Rachel mentioned, our BIPOC communities in our area continue to experience disparities as well as disproportionate impacts of the effects of climate change. Given all of this, we really have made it a core value of our work and the way that we approach the work to make sure that these historically excluded communities have equitable access to the economic benefits that are possible here in this sector. Next slide.
So our team reviewed a few different sort of personas as we were thinking about and developing the tool and what we might want in the tool. I think the one that resonated the most with our team here locally on the ground is sort of this aspiring entrant. So this is a job seeker who is sort of new to the workforce. They may be young or have been away from the workforce for a while. They may have a high school diploma, but no additional post-secondary education, limited sort of industry-related experience, and really are looking to sort of build foundational skills and obtain some occupational post-secondary training that will allow them to find a job working in the construction or green energy space. And so as we sort of think about that persona, if we go to the next page, you'll see how our problem statement sort of reflects everything that we've talked about today. So our problem statement is that Ramsey County and St. Paul residents need sustainable careers that provide a living wage and offer opportunity to create generational wealth. At the same time, there's a growing demand for green construction and clean energy jobs, but little knowledge exists in our community about how to enter that industry. We hope to build a tool that will kickstart or that will allow residents to be matched with careers that'll kickstart their journey into sustainability careers in our space. So Cassandra is going to talk about our community research next.
Yeah, so we really wanted to look at two sides of the labor market. So we wanted to consider what employers are seeing and hearing in their recruiting and their candidate pools. And we wanted to hear from those who are either new to the field as job seekers or individuals who maybe were less experienced and kind of fit that aspiring entrant role. So we were trying to be very realistic. We knew that employers would likely not engage in person. So we constructed a survey and were able to distribute that out through a variety of different community partners. And then we held some in-person job seeker focus groups or focus groups for the individuals to really share their experiences in the job market. For the job seekers or for the focus groups in person, we did a lot of recruitment through community partners. We worked with our internal Goodwill participants. We were able to partner with some social media and send out some community newsletters. And we ended up with 26 individuals coming over 2 different sessions. The conversation really centered around individuals' general work experience, their experience using technology, because we do have concerns about digital equity. We wanted to explore a little bit what their perceptions of diversity and inclusion in the workplace were, and then hear more about what their understanding or perceptions of clean energy and green construction were. Next slide, please. So our employers, we looked at some of the feedback that they provided. We did get most of our feedback from folks that would consider themselves construction-related employers, and they are mostly using professional networks for their recruitment. They did indicate that many of the candidates that they're seeing in their applicant pools are really not necessarily prepared for the reality of what the positions look like. They're not necessarily prepared for inconsistent hiring or inconsistent seasonal work, the physicality of the field, and even just being able to understand the true reality of what the field looks like is difficult for folks. So a lot of this feedback from employers, we noticed, really assumes that folks have personal connections, the ability to manage those fluctuations in the work, and really the ability to withstand that. And that's just not something that many of our community members are able to sustain. Next slide, please. So for our job seeker findings, it was very consistent, honestly, with the employer feedback. They overall said that they had general lack of awareness about what opportunities were within clean energy and green construction. There was a lot of discussion about the realities of the field and the work that it all entailed. people were very concerned about their barriers, personal situations, financial situations, and whether or not those would be able to be addressed by employers, or whether or not that would really hold them back from engaging in these careers in the future. There was also a significant portion of conversation about equity, and we concluded that if employers are going to want to be able to attract individuals from diverse backgrounds into these careers, there's going to need to be sort of a system-wide addressing of equity, diversity, belonging, and that's going to have to be on the part of the employers as well as the educational institutions and training providers as well. Next slide.
So how did these results and what we learned through our research inform the product? First of all, it basically reinforced a lot of what we had theorized was the case about the lack of connection of information between job seekers and job employers, reinforced that we need to make sure that this information is accessible and available. Secondly, it also illustrated that there's more to be done with making connections with employers. The employer engagement piece itself, as Cassandra said, we had really good connection with the construction employers, and there's more to be done there. And finally, we learned that our community members really do care about climate change, but they don't necessarily see the connection between taking action on climate change and being able to incorporate that into their career next steps. So that's another kind of tool that we can use to pull people into these career pathways. Next slide.
All right, so we're going to turn it over for the demonstration.
All right, I'm up. Okay. So I'm gonna navigate to the live page. Welcome to Ramsey County Careers. We first start with a quick questionnaire that should be very simple for folks to fill out, and I'm gonna fill it out. I'm gonna go through the journey that a user would have. So let's say that I'm interested in the sector of construction. My education level is post-secondary. Outdoor, indoors, I'm fine with both. I have 1 to 3 years of experience in construction, and I am willing to travel for my job. Once I fill out this questionnaire, then I'm going to be matched with a few careers that fulfill all those expectations that I had based on my answers. And I see carpenter, and then I see heating and air conditioning. So I'm gonna go ahead and explore this career. And then I get very quick, good snippets of like a summary that I would be interested in about the carpenter's position. I see a average wage in the Twin Cities. I see that I'm gonna need a high school diploma, and the training is an apprenticeship. I get a job description. I get a list of responsibilities. I get a video, which is really nice, about what the day in the life of a carpenter is. And then I will see some local trainings of the city of St. Paul. This is St. Paul College, Hennepin Technical College. And then I also see, and this is the important part about this whole demo, about this MVP, is that we want to highlight whatever the Ramsey County recommends. So this training right here, for example, takes us to the Ramsey County Means Business website, and it's a construction training, and it's tailored towards carpentry. That is very useful. And then eventually, something that I didn't get to in this MVP is to also have local job postings. And similarly, what we would do is that we would have a list that we would pull out from the internet, and then Ramsey County would recommend job postings, and we would put those at the top. There's a lot of career matching tools out there, but the added value of this tool is that it's Ramsey County specific. That is the general user journey. Here, I added some links to the Ramsey County Means Business, so the experience feels like it's connected to the original website. And we also want this to be an accessible tool, so that is why I made sure to have this work with phones. It's mobile optimized. You can click here, this little filter, and it pops up on the side, and you can scroll as usual. And because I love adding little Easter eggs, I love dark mode, so I decided to add dark mode just for the heck of it. And that is about it. It's very easy for me to change the filters and clear them up, play with them. And if I refresh the page, which is important, my answers are saved for my local session. We aren't storing anything because of privacy issues, but for the session, it is all stored. That's the end of the demo.
Thank you. Yeah, our team is really excited about the tool. As you said, there are a lot of tools out there, but really not anything that is sort of this customized to our local environment. And so excited to see how we can, continue to develop and move the tool forward. So our potential impact, as I mentioned, and as Cassandra had talked about, a lot of our residents just don't have information about the jobs in these pathways. And so really having more information and easier access to that information, we think will bring great benefit to our residents. For the sector, we really are excited to hopefully bring this tool to other sort of parties in our workforce ecosystem. So, not only for job seekers, but how do school staff, parents, employment counselors, other folks in the community who are supporting job seekers and students be able to use this tool in a way that helps support, conversations about career exploration, for example. Really that climate awareness, our community is pretty aware of the impacts of climate change, but the more that we can have conversations about what those impacts are and what are the careers that can mitigate those impacts, the better it'll be for our entire community. And then again, just really looking to both increase the support for our partners in industry and employers and our education partners who are really trying to recruit the right folks for their programs and for their opportunities. How do we make sure folks have the right information to be able to make the right connections at the right time for their career pathways? So a few key learnings that our team has come to from working in TOPC. The first is that really this work takes ecosystem building, and ecosystem building takes partnerships. We think that our team was able to be successful in this work because we have longstanding partnerships. The folks around this table and our other partners here locally have been working together for a long time. And so there was not a lot of groundwork that had to be laid prior to sort of jumping into working together. And our second key learning is that our technology is not going to solve all of our problems. While technology obviously can be helpful, we need to have the right information and the right connections in order to make the tool sort of fulfill the issues that we addressed. So for example, if we don't have employers who are offering to, make their jobs more accessible, to provide information to job seekers, to do that in a more transparent way, we're going to continue to have inequities in who gets access to those economic opportunities and who does not. So we can go to the next slide.
So what's next? So as Rachel said, there's longstanding partnerships between the groups that came together. However, going through this TOPC process really helped to strengthen and deepen. There were things that we had been intending to do that we hadn't done yet. Being a part of the TOPC process sort of brought that to the forefront. Really laying the foundation for continued deeper and further collaboration is one of our biggest sort of takeaways from the TOPC process that we're very grateful for. We're planning to apply for funding that has been announced through the DOE to further build out the coalition, continue to build and sustain the tool. We think we're really well positioned to be awarded that prize. And I don't think that we would have been in as good of a position if it hadn't been for the TOPC process. Some of the things that we want to do, we want to add more of the videos, add more information from employers, add more careers. It's there's a lot farther that it can go, but having this framework for it really is a massive first step.
And then I'll just mention our Ramsey County Workforce Innovation Board is continuing to lead work around how do we further innovate and really provide support for employers to be more inclusive in this work. I'll shout out, we have some of our WIB folks on the call today. So thanks to all those folks for attending. There's a number of initiatives that our Workforce Board is working on in this space, including an inclusive employer toolkit that I would encourage everyone to go check out. If you just Google Ramsey County Inclusive Employer Toolkit, it really is an awesome digital toolkit for employers to support recruitment, hiring, training, and retention of diverse workers. We run a inclusive workplaces cohort, which is a 12-month intensive learning experience for small to mid-sized businesses. We work with our local chamber partners, some of which are on the call today as well, to help increase connection between our workforce system and our employers. And so our Workforce Innovation Board will be continuing this inclusive employer work, recognizing, again, that the tool will not get us all the way there in solving the issue of economic inequity in our community and how we leverage new investments in this space with the community. So if you have questions or you want to connect, you can reach out to Liz or I, and we can get you in touch with the right folks on our team. So I'm going to open it up, Giselle, if there's any questions.
Thank you so much, team. That was absolutely wonderful. We do have a question in the chat, and I know that we are also running a little behind. So what I'm going to do actually is just encourage participants, attendees, if you have questions, if you have any thoughts, please share them in the chat, and the panelists will go ahead and respond directly on the chat. You also have Rachel and Liz's emails on here. We'll have more content information down the road. So you can also get in contact with them if you want to learn more about the tool. I'm going to go ahead and again, kudos to you all. You've done a great job. I'm going to start us up on our next set of presentations. So Miami-Dade County will be presenting next, and they've worked tirelessly to help update and streamline information for the low-income home energy assistance program, also known as LIHEAP. So we have a range of folks speaking today: George Valens, the IT manager and third-time product manager; Brittany Vereen, who's our representative from the Community Action and Human Services Department. We have Shay McManus from Google.org, our user research volunteer; Myra Mayer, executive director of the Women's Fund and the community partner; Jordan Mess, our product manager from Google; and then Ajay Prabhakar, who is our Google software engineer. And with that, I'm going to hand this off to the incredible team of Miami, who's going to take you through their learning journey.
Thanks, Giselle. Hi, everybody. Everybody can hear me okay? Thumbs up. Awesome. I'm George Valens. I'm the IT Innovation Manager for Miami-Dade County's Information Technology Department. Really excited to be here. This is our third year, and we're just excited to do this work and to do it with great partners and friends. Next slide, please. So we're going to walk through a little bit of the challenge that we were trying to address with this MVP. The research that we did to understand that challenge, give you a little bit of overview on the solution, and take us to next steps and potentially some Q&A. Next slide. But before we do that, we have to shout out this amazing team. I say it all the time, never doubt the power of a cross-functional team. This is a group of folks that came together in the service of our county residents, in the service of our Community Action and Human Services Department, who work tirelessly to serve our residents. So want to thank the Google team, the Center for Public Impact team, the Beck Center team for coming out and building something cool with us. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Ms. Vereen, who's going to walk you through a little bit of the LIHEAP context.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Brittany Vereen, and I am with Miami-Dade Community Action and Human Services Department. under the Family and Community Services Division. I am presenting today on behalf of Ms. Lisa Parrish, our Division Director. And today I will be discussing the LIHEAP accessibility component and understanding the problem. Next slide, please. The rising cost of cooling is a struggle for many in Miami-Dade County. With temperatures frequently reaching record high, more residents are relying heavily on air conditioning to maintain safe and comfortable indoor environments. This increased usage is leading to significant higher utility bills, which can be a burdensome mostly for low-income families or vulnerable populations. This impact causes financial strain on low-income families, health risks, and increased demand for assistance programs like LIHEAP to help manage their bills. Next slide. So what is LIHEAP? LIHEAP stands for Low Income Home Energy Assistance Program, a federally funded program designed to help income-restrained households cover their energy costs, mainly heating and cooling expenses. It aims to provide financial relief to ensure that vulnerable families can maintain essential heating and cooling in their homes. For applicants to apply, they will complete the LIHEAP application and submit in person at their designated community resource center, in addition to required documents such as proof of income, utility bills, and household information is needed. Next, please. So some challenges our residents in Miami-Dade County face is difficulty in completing applications. Applicants struggle to provide the correct documentation, such as proof of income or identification. Missing or incomplete documentation can delay or disqualify applicants, reducing the number of residents receiving assistance. So next, we will hear from Shia McMinnis from google.org. Thank you.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. My name's Shay. I'm with google.org, and we'll talk a little bit about the in-depth research. So, to learn more about the current application process and how a digital process can help to increase access, we conducted 2 design sprints. So one was with 4 internal CASD employees, and another was with 10 LIHEAP applicants. I'll talk about the first. And that first design sprint was conducted during a 2-day site visit. So team members, some of whom are pictured here, and others met in Miami-Dade at a local community resource center. And we conducted on-site user research with frontline staff who processed the LIHEAP applications. So our goal for this research was to learn more about the issues these frontline staff encounter with the application process, which requires residents to submit that physical application and the required documentation in person, and to ask them for input on how a digital process could improve the process. From this research, we learned that most applicants struggle to gather the required documentation, as we somewhat assumed, but we also, that it does include the IDs as well as the energy bills, which require the same or matching addresses. So we learned that this often leads to multiple trips back and forth to the community center to complete an application for residents. Now, the residents themselves, we learned that the majority are seniors, and most or many of them have either limited technological access, but also sometimes expertise. But we did learn that they often rely on family members as well as caseworkers for assistance with this application process, and that technological aspect is one part of that. And finally, and when it comes to the benefits of a digitized application process, we learned that that will extend beyond the applicants, streamlining not only the application process, but the workflows for the frontline staff that we talked to, and it will help to eliminate the need for duplicative data entry, especially when residents are applying numerous times over the course of the years. All right, and now I will hand it over to Maria.
Thank you so much, Shay. So yes, my name is Maria Meyer. I'm so privileged to have learned so much from our team's participation in this research project with the heart. And it's been a really great experience working with you all. We're grateful. So we're going to show a picture of me, all about me, but just to help understand why us and why we're so interested. So that's me there at the left in blue, always a silly look on my face, but I'm between our amazing county mayor, Daniela Levine Cava, and our city of Miami mayor, Francis Suarez. We led and launched an extreme heat, a campaign on the effects of extreme heat on pregnant people and infants. So this started some years ago. And at the right, you'll see our Mayor Levine Cava with Jane Gilbert, who is Miami-Dade County's first ever chief heat officer, because you know what? In Miami, we need one. So unfortunately, we do have the heat issues, and you can see why we were so excited to participate in this project with this kind of a history. So we're just going to show you on the next slide the campaign and how we came to that campaign. That was born out of conversations with local economic mobility leaders who were telling us that heat was the newest challenge burdening their communities, right? So this has been building, and little by little, we're finally starting to really all see it as a community. And that's adding to what Brittany shared earlier. So conversations, we all know, are incredibly important. And in Miami, we often say, hablando se entiende la gente. In other words, by speaking together, we reach understanding, and we have to share that that's what this research allowed us to be able to do, which was great. So on to the meat. What applicants shared with us really fell into 4 basic categories. And here you can see some of it in their own words, which are always the best. But if I translate and compress them, let's start first with tech access. It was crystal clear across the majority of the conversations that creating hard copies made the process really onerous. Most applicants shared that they are time constrained. No surprise, but you think about it, the people who are struggling most, if we're all time constrained, what that means if you're working more than one job, transportation issues, etc. It's very clear that time constraint is critical. Most utilize just one device. Their phones is their only easy access tool. And that really flows into the next one, which is the second, submission challenges. So accessing printers, fax machines, laptops is difficult for many of the applicants, as was finding that time to turn things in, to go into the research center, to mail things, etc. So most common request that we got was saying, hey, couldn't we just use our phone? Or somebody in my household use the phone for us. Third, mentioned also before, ID discrepancy issues. So IDs need to have that same address as the FPL bill, right? Florida Power and Light, which creates delays for some applicants. And let me add that, as our mayor said at the Miami-Dade Greater Chamber of Commerce yesterday, we're now officially the one who has the greatest discrepancy of median income with housing costs. So you can imagine this is a daily incremental rush of people needing to change rental properties because they're priced out of where they're living. So this is just going to continue to be exacerbated from all that we see. And then finally, number 4, awareness of the LIHEAP program itself. So that's always fun to add with opportunities. So there are great opportunities here to reach more eligible participants. And it really came up quite frequently that the idea of working more closely with community-based organizations that residents trust and are going to see otherwise, that includes their children's schools, local community centers, that came up frequently. So this research, I have to say, demonstrated clearly to our team at the Women's Fund that we've got the right county leadership to make that happen. And so we thank you for this opportunity to work with you all. And I'll pass it on.
Thanks so much. Next slide, please. So I get to now walk us through the journey a little bit of how we got here and how we work together. Next slide. So the objectives based on our work at the Community Resource Center, based on the Women's Fund's outstanding work, is threefold. First, we want to increase the application success rate. If our residents have something that walks them through it, that gives them the confidence, that gives them the understanding that they know the process and that they have the pieces ready to submit, that gives them the confidence to submit. It reduces the friction when our residents come to apply in person. Lastly, or secondly, rather, we want to reduce strain on frontline staff. If the applications are complete and our residents know before they go, then when they come to the CRC to apply, the application process goes smoothly, not just for them, but for our frontline staff who are working tirelessly. And from the perspectives that we've heard from the front lines, go always above and beyond to serve our residents and make sure that they are getting the best experience possible. And lastly, and most importantly, and I think a point that speaks to the spirit of this program is increasing user trust in our LIHEAP process, in our experiences with our Community Action Human Services Department, and more importantly, building continued trust with Miami-Dade County. The idea of understanding our residents, meeting them where they are, hearing how we can solve a challenge or bring a service or a tool or a process closer to them translates into trust. And ultimately, that is, I think, the most special thing that comes out of engagements like these. Next slide. So, oh, sorry, I forgot to say please. Next slide, please. So, we started the process by defining the problem, defining the challenge. What are we trying to solve? Using that definition, we then went out to research, went to the on-site, spoke to our residents, and really mapped our insights and the things that we learned to that problem statement and zoomed in on an area where we can make impact. Through there, we did some mapping exercises and solution sketching to really identify, okay, what is it that we want to do? And what is it that what is it trying to solve? And then ultimately putting together not just an MVP, but a roadmap of features where we can say, okay, what can we accomplish right now? What should we put on a roadmap down the road? And not only leave with an MVP, but leave with something that the tool could aspire to, something that it could rise to continue to meet the residents' needs and continue to innovate and iterate. Next slide. So awesome time at the CRC. Our IT teams, our CASD teams, and Google and Center for Public Impact are, showed up and we just jumped in, understood it from the perspective of our frontlines teams, made plans, talked, built something together. Building with friends usually yields a better product. So we were able to bring some friends together and hopefully build something impactful for our residents. And I think with this slide, I turn it over to Jordan.
All right. Hi, everyone. My name is Jordan. I'm a product manager from the google.org program, and I'm going to be talking to you about the solution that we defined that came out of this entire process. So we needed a tool that bridged the gap between the applicant and the in-person application process. So what we aligned on is a digital tool that helps applicants prepare more complete and accurate LIHEAP applications to reduce the time it takes for them to get the assistance and the funding that they need. Secondarily, we also wanted to help reduce the strain on the frontline workers working at the community centers to make sure that they could help triage these applications as fast as possible. So as a part of our tool that you'll see shortly in a demo with Ajay, we have a couple key features that I want to highlight. The first is a enhanced eligibility pre-screening process, which is a lot of fancy words, but basically what this means is we're adding a new process that applicants can get information about their eligibility status for the program ahead of actually going in person to the community center to save some time and energy. The second is an ID extraction tool. So when the applicants upload copies of their ID or scan their ID, we can actually pull data from that and automatically fill in the application, as much data as possible so that, we're reducing the time, again, that it takes for the applicant to, be going through all the tedious data entry. And then lastly, We have a document scanner. So, applicants right from their phones can, after they gather all their documents together, they can use their phone to actually scan and upload these documents directly to their application packet. Next slide, please. So how does this tool fit into the entire process? So again, we knew that one of the limits that we had with this program is that this had to remain an in-person application submission process. So we had to build a tool that fit into this flow. So on this slide, you can see a visual of how our tool fits into the process. So first, a applicant can use the tool to prepare their application and get organized all their information, all their documents, their energy bills, their IDs, social security cards, and scan them. And then using our tool, we can prepare and actually download a complete packet for them that they can either print at home or bring directly to the community center and print from there and turn in directly. Next slide. And then lastly, I just wanted to zoom in really quickly to one part of the application packet that's new. We have a cover page on the packet that's automatically generated based off of information that we pick up from the application. This is a summary that elevates key application info to help the frontline workers triage their applications as fast as possible. Because again, we want applicants to, resolve these problems quickly, and we want to also prioritize high-risk applicants to make sure that they can get the funding that they need as fast as possible, especially if their energy has already been cut off. So you can see a sample cover page here where you can see, key information like what kind of assistance, is this a crisis that they're in? Are there any high risk members of their household, like elderly or young children? And then also, we want to detect if there's any, potential issues, because, it's a pretty complicated application, and we want to see, like, is there anything that we can catch ahead of time and highlight really quickly to the frontline workers so that they can help triage these as best as possible. So I'll pass it off to Ajay, who's going to be taking you through a demo of this tool. But as Giselle was saying earlier, I just wanted to highlight that, we're going to continue to add features to complete this entire product vision. And so you'll see this is a portion of the journey now, but more is coming. And with that, I'll pass it to Ajay.
Thank you, Jordan. We have a video for the demo. We wanted to make sure that everybody could see it. Hi, we're going to do a quick rundown of the LIHEAP web app and how it can easily help you create and complete a validated LIHEAP application. LIHEAP has a few eligibility criteria. For example, once you get through that, we need to determine if you qualify for emergency or regular LIHEAP assistance. For emergency assistance, the eligibility is once a quarter. For regular LIHEAP assistance, it is once a year. If you select options that don't let you qualify, they'll let you know right away. And if you do qualify, you can process ahead. The next step is figuring out income eligibility. Sometimes by qualifying for other benefits, you automatically qualify for LIHEAP. But if you don't, you can always qualify through income eligibility. You can select a household size, and based on your household size, we show the maximum eligible income. If you select an income that's above the maximum eligibility, we let you know that you're not qualified. In this case, I'm going to select a lower number and proceed. The next step is providing your address. You can do this easily by simply uploading one of the 3 documents and pulling it from there. So in this case, we're going to provide a government ID. We're going to use this for this example, just to highlight how it works. Once you upload, it allows you to fill the questionnaire from the information provided in the government ID. You can select other answers as well, and you can proceed through the rest of the form. In this step, you need your biographical information. Again, if you're provided a license, you can automatically pull that information in, and you can start filling out the rest of the information. do a lot of validation behind the scenes. For example, when you enter a dollar number for monthly income, we automatically add commas to make sure that it is easily readable and prevents any input errors as well. So when you do enter the form and try to continue, and if something is incorrect, we point out where corrections need to be made. As you see here, I've clearly indicated a monthly income of 10,000, which put me beyond the LIHEAP eligibility. So we let the users know that the income information is exceeding the qualifying amount, and they can go ahead and try to fix it. In this case, I actually meant to say 1,000. Since we mentioned 2 household members earlier, it allows us to fill in information for 2 household members. We can choose to remove household members here or add more. Since I don't mention monthly income, I don't have to specify a source of income. Again, it does a validation check to make sure that all the household income that we provide meets the qualifying amount, or it allows you to make a correction before you proceed. Again, in this case, I seem to have made a mistake, and once I correct it, I can go forward. Now I can review my entire application. I can see if everything looks correct. If not, I can go back and fill any information that I need to fill, and I can come back to the screen, and now I'm ready to hit submit. It now generates a PDF file for me to be able to review all this information, and you can see the information has been printed out. It does a lot of validation behind the screen and calculation behind the screen to fill all sorts of inputs that are necessary for the form to be completed successfully, and makes it easy for applicants to submit their form. Hi.
Thanks. So just to wrap us up, next slide, please. So this is where we're at in the process right now. By December, the amazing Google team will finish the work and transition the application over to us, and then the Miami-Dade County team will take it from there. Next slide, please. So, as I alluded to earlier, the roadmap for the future is certainly bright. One of the great takeaways of this effort is not just an MVP, but an inspiring roadmap of features and potential that we can look to as we grow this tool. So the possibilities here are endless, integrating with current systems, integrating with new or partner systems, adding features, leveraging new technologies like AI to augment the process even faster. Sky's certainly the limit. So we're excited, thankful, and it's been a really great opportunity to co-build with these amazing friends and partners. And I think with that about wraps us up.
Yes, thank you so much, Miami team. That was absolutely phenomenal. Participants, please drop in any reactions, drop in questions in the chat. The Miami team will be responding to questions on the chat. Same thing as the St. Paul team and every other team coming up. So please drop it there. We have our Macon-Bibb County team up next. The team has been working on making business permitting and licensing information more accessible and transparent to help streamline the application process. And we have a couple of presenters today. We have Kai, who's a web programmer at the county, Barbara Marlin, the county's geographic information systems manager. They both co-lead for the Macon-Bibb County side, along with Aaron Keller, who's the chief of staff and VP of development for Newtown Macon. And we have Isaac Atua and also Parisha Reddy, who are going to be speaking on behalf of Google.org. This team has worked through various hurdles, so just please give it up and a warm welcome for Macon, and I'm going to pass it over to them now to get us started.
Good afternoon, everyone. Team Macon-Bibb is really excited to share with y'all the solution around innovating the business licensing program here in Macon-Bibb. Next slide, please. And here you'll see our run of show for today's demonstration. Next slide, please. And while you're only going to be hearing from a few of us today, this slide represents the entire team that has been working tirelessly to bring a really good solution prototype to present to you guys today. Next slide, please. So I'll be kicking us off just to help set the stage of why this technical solution was absolutely necessary. Next slide, please. Okay, so for a little context, Macon became a consolidated government in 2014 with roughly about 155 residents. Long-term consolidation was absolutely the correct decision. However, long-term, the merge of both county and city services created several points of tension with critical processes, particularly with business permits and licensing. The building licensing permitting process involves several county departments, but also state authorities that are autonomous and do not directly answer to the mayor or the county commission. That's important for you to know. Next slide, please. So it's also important to note that this year's TOPC Sprint project was basically a continuation of last year's project, where last year we really needed to figure out exactly what the process was, as you'll see here in the current slide. Macon boasts a very strong entrepreneurial landscape with an emphasis on local people. So getting a visual of the process with a landing page to help direct folks with was a step in the right direction and only drew us closer to the 5-year vision of becoming a thriving local economy full of small businesses where entrepreneurs can easily navigate the county permitting process. Now, Georgia is the #1 place to do business. However, in Macon-Bibb, there's lots of opportunities for us to do that. So last year's solution was helpful, but we knew there was still more opportunity to sophisticate this critical process. And to further expound on this, I'm going to pass the baton to Macon-Bibb's IT director.
Thank you, Erin. While last year's cohort, the next slide, please. While last year's cohort of the TOPC project included identifying the process and streamlining the interdepartmental communication by utilizing a product called Camino, and many thanks to our planning and zoning director, Jeff Ruggieri, for spearheading that. This cohort, we've expanded to focus more on those applying for the business licenses or permits within Macon-Bibb County. And we're addressing the need for more readily available information by incorporating the other departments that are required by the process to benefit those citizens and the public as a whole. They've asked for more readily available information and to incorporate these multiple departments to this benefit. Next slide, please. Our user comments and research supported the need for the streamlined and transparent information regarding the licensing permitting process. 40% of the clients reported challenges with understanding the requirements of submitting a business license. 50% reported a negative or neutral experience when applying for a business license. And 50% of applicants leveraged the Macon-Bibb website, the leading resource for the applicants today, which led us to focus on this as our main media for approaching those residents. Next slide, please. And as part of our community research, this community feedback focused on the amount of needed paperwork, the process being a complicated process, and the desire for clear information regarding this process, how cumbersome the forms and requirement for submitted materials is. And you can see by these comments that we really had a lot to focus on through this cohort. I will now hand it over to Kai Fan to talk about our solution.
Hey, this is Kai. I'm from Macon-Bibb County IT department. I will walk you through, guys, about how we find the solution. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. To understand our users' needs, we analyzed the insight from interviews conducted during previous cohort and defined the key user pain points and the needs. We also conducted an online survey, gathered 842 responses. These provided valuable data on user experience, preference regarding the current process. We also conducted various departments to collect insights and interviews on interdepartmental needs and the challenges in providing information on public. Next slide, please. So we have we proposed two solutions to address this issue. The first one is improve our landing page for the business license and permit process. we're trying to implement a more user-friendly layout with a streamlined navigation to enhance accessibility. Another big feature we add on is to integrate a chatbot to provide an intermediate assistant and answers to common questions, which are available, all the time for our end users. Now I'm going to turn to our Google team to demonstrate our product.
Thanks, Kai. Hi, my name is Parisha, and I'm a software engineer on the Google.org team, and I'm going to go into more detail about our solution that we created for Macon-Bibb. So as Kai mentioned, the first part of our solution was the web redesign. As you can see on the right side, this is the existing Macon-Bibb licensing page, and we wanted to build off of last year's team and figure out a way to make the website more helpful to users. So our goal for the redesign was to improve navigation so that users can quickly find the information they need without scrolling through a long page, organize content into manageable sections to make it easier to digest, make the website structure more logical and intuitive so that users can focus on specific topics without being overwhelmed, and overall make the website more user-friendly and engaging. So now I'll pass it on to Isaac to talk about the chatbot integration and demo the new website.
Sounds good. Thanks, Parisha. Hi, everyone. My name is Isaac, and I worked alongside Parisha and our talented team on the website redesign and a chatbot integration. So essentially, we redesigned the website and provided useful links to find information, but we also added a chatbot feature designed for 3 particular personas in mind. This chatbot feature was designed for new business owners in Macon, existing business owners, as well as contractors and builders. So now I'm going to actually proceed to the newly redesigned website and also show you a sneak peek into the chatbot and some of the features it has. So let me share my screen. All right. So in front of everyone is the redesigned website. Essentially, we identified some of the 3 main resources that most residents or new business owners in Macon want to look for. So essentially, they want to know about the process. How does it work to get a business license in Macon? They want easy access to different links, including permitting and licensing information, as well as relevant information such as the FAQ, the business license process map, Camino, etc. These links still work and actually function on the website. But the powerful thing is that we've extended the features that were already existing by integrating a chatbot. So let us actually walk through how the chatbot will work for a regular user. So imagine I was a new business owner. I had come to Macon. I was looking for information as to how to start a business within Macon. I can essentially find questions on the frequently answered question sheet page, but I can also use the chatbot feature to confirm some of the stuff that I'm researching here. So one of the major functionalities of this chatbot is that you can ask questions to different parts of the page to get information. So let's say, for example, I wanted to start a new business or want to obtain a new business license in Macon. I can essentially ask the chatbot how to obtain a business license. So it would go scour the website and give us information that is essentially grounded in the website. So all these links you see here, you can actually access on the website upon click. And the powerful thing about that is that it provides an extended feature for all the FAQs here. We can even ask some of our FAQ questions just to confirm that the chatbot is actually working. So we know this is kind of like the response to why my property should be zoned, but let's actually ask the question here to see if it can pick that up. Awesome. So it's essentially kind of like rephrased all the information we had in our FAQ page. And we know that chatbots aren't perfect. So the powerful thing about this chatbot is, let's say we put in a query that is not expected to be there. The chatbot will essentially be able to infer an answer for you based on some of the things that it has been pre-trained on. So essentially, we still have this new redesigned page, but we also have the chatbot also as an additional feature to the page, but also a conversation starter. So for a lot of businesses that are looking to start making, we can actually see what new business owners want to discuss, as well as any trending topics that they have in mind as they look to start a business in Macon. And that goes to the end of my presentation. Thank you very much.
Your wonderful demonstration.
Thank you.
Next slide, please. I'm going to walk you guys to just talk about the creating impact and then what's next. Next slide, please. So the creating impact we would like to, again, from this project is our enhance the user experience, streamline communications, and of course, transparency. The redesigned website and chatbot will significantly improve our navigation access to the information, leading to high certification rates and improving the government transparency. Of course, integration of the chatbot will facilitate the quicker response to user inquiries, reducing the workload on staff and allowing the for more efficient services. Next slide, please. So what's next? So we have three different phases, the short term, mid-term, and long term. The short term, we will definitely conduct user testing and organize sessions, surveys to gather more feedbacks from end user and on the redesigned website and chatbot functionalities. We also want to encourage more internal contribution for the website containing, and for the midterm, we would like to use the insight from the testing to make a necessary adjustment and improvements. I mean, the product is finally complicated, and we'll also like to expand the chatbot's knowledge base by including information for additional departments such as tax commissioner's office or code enforcement department or fire department extras. For the long term, we would like to establish a regular schedule for reviewing or updating the website content to reflect the user needs and the preferences. Of course, the timelines here are all estimated and will be adjusted as we continue to gather user insights and adjust to the internal resource. Next slide, please. That's pretty much what we have today, and I really want to shout out to all the team members and including all our folks from different departments. Without you guys, this project won't happen. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Macon team, for that great presentation. You're getting a lot of love here and on the chat too, so please keep dropping any thoughts and questions on there. And now our final presentation, the City of Akron. In partnership with Keep Akron Beautiful and Google.org, this team sought to address the city's declining tree canopy by making data more accessible and supporting residents to take action. So presenting today, we're going to have Casey Shevlin, who's the Director of Sustainability and Resiliency, Jackie Ricciuti, who is the Executive Director for Keep Akron Beautiful, Emma Saghetti, who's a Community Outreach Manager. We're going to have Austin, who's going to be demoing the product, and they've just done incredible work. We're excited to hear about your journey, but before we hand it over to the team, we actually have a special guest here in the audience, and we're going to hear some opening remarks from the City of Akron Mayor, Mayor Malik. So I'm going to go ahead and hand it over to you all now.
Thank you, Giselle. Really appreciate it. Hi, everybody. My name is Shamus Malik. I have the honor and privilege of being mayor of the City of Akron, Ohio. Really glad to be here with all of you today. I enjoyed watching the presentation from Macon, and just really excited about this, really for two reasons. When I got elected to as mayor last year, I was really running on a platform of making city government more open, more inclusive, more collaborative. And also one of the things that we focused on as a substantive topic area was sustainability. And in doing so, we hired Casey Shevlin, who you're going to hear from, as our first ever Director of Sustainability and Resiliency for the City of Akron. And so in a lot of ways, this is what we do, sustainability, but also how we do it, which is trying to conceptualize the problem for every one of our residents and also help them understand what solutions are. So really excited about this, particularly when I was on city council. I represented a ward that had a street called Treeside, has very little trees and tree canopy on it. That kind of exemplifies the issue as a part of a neighborhood experiencing poverty. And we know all the benefits of more tree canopy. And so we're excited to have this opportunity to put this into practice. So just want to thank the whole team. Keep Akron Beautiful is an amazing nonprofit partner of the City of Akron. It's worked with us for a long time. Google.org and everyone who's involved in it. So just wanted to hop on and be part of it. I did not design the tool. I can take no credit. I only get the blame if it doesn't work. So I'll turn it over to Casey for more.
Thank you, Mayor Malik, and hello, everyone. I'm Casey Shevlin. I'm the Director of Sustainability and Resiliency for the City of Akron. Before we jump in, I want to thank we could actually go to the next slide here. I want to thank the local and national partners that came together for this program, our City of Akron team, Keep Akron Beautiful, Google, CPI, Beck, the Knight Foundation. Shout out to Kyle, our Knight leader in Akron. I think we're at this moment where cross-sector, private, nonprofit, public partnerships are really critical to getting important work done in our cities. And this program, I think, is a great reminder and example of that in action. So I appreciate everyone coming together for this. Next slide. As you heard Mayor Malik say, the local issue that we chose to focus on was trees. They are vitally important to quality of life and community well-being. So many co-benefits from them here in Akron and every city really. But we are facing a major challenge in Akron, which is that our tree canopy, while currently fairly healthy at 34% coverage, is on this downward trajectory. You can see here we're anticipating actually getting to 30%, the wrong direction, by 2040. And we also know the City of Akron as an entity owns a very small percentage of land in Akron, not enough to plant enough trees to turn this trend around. So the greatest opportunity really lies in private, non-city owned land, and it's critical that we find a way to collaborate and take advantage of that opportunity. Our community partner here with us today, Keep Akron Beautiful, is deeply passionate about this very issue, which is why we chose to partner with them. So I'm going to hand it over to their executive director, Jackie Ricciuti, to say more about this challenge and their organization's efforts in this space.
Thanks, Casey. So on Arbor Day of 2024, Keep Akron Beautiful launched a campaign called Planting Change, really to restore Akron's green canopy and maintain a balanced ecosystem. So what does this mean? We are encouraging and working with Akron residents and business owners to educate them on the importance of private property trees. As Casey and Mayor Malik mentioned, only 9% of the land in Akron is really owned by the city. So to effectively restore this canopy, we need to be able to plant trees on private land. We're also focusing our efforts on teaching individuals how to plant these trees, how to care for these trees, and we've been writing grants to obtain trees for private property plantings.
We can go to the next slide. So this is the problem, in a nutshell, right? The greatest opportunity for turning around the canopy, as we have said, lies in that private space, but our residents, our organizations, our businesses, they need information, data, support, instruction in order to help reverse the trend. And those are the things that are lacking a bit right now in Akron. So that's the challenge we took on with this program. And we started by engaging the community, which Keep Akron Beautiful is going to tell you about.
Okay, so that would be the next slide, I believe. Okay. So to address this tree-related challenge in Akron, we knew it was crucial to hear directly from the community. We wanted to make sure that we gathered input from as many voices as we could to understand the value and what all the city needed. We decided to conduct multiple surveys throughout the city to gather broad feedback. Our goal was to ensure that every voice was heard and that every ward in Akron had an opportunity to participate. So we were diligent in trying to reach all 10 wards of the city.
To make sure we were connected with a diverse group of residents, we attended a variety of community events. These included farmers markets, 5K runs, Akron's Pride Festival, an event called Porch Rocker, and a few other large events. This allowed us to engage with people in multiple environments and secure over 500 survey responses. To dig deeper, we conducted 3 focus groups with 12 residents from across the city. And these focus groups allowed us to have more detailed conversations with participants and understand their specific concerns and ideas regarding trees in Akron. In addition to this, we also took part in over 10 board meetings and events. These meetings gave us the chance to discuss our vision for Akron's tree canopy and gain additional feedback directly from residents in different neighborhoods through conversation and surveying. So we were super intentional in our approach, making sure to target residents from a variety of neighborhoods and backgrounds. And by including people with different experiences and expertise, we were able to gather a wide spectrum of insights into Akron's tree canopy.
Okay, next slide. So a big thank you to the community members who took that survey and participated in some of the focus groups. I have my fingers crossed that some of them might be tuned in here today. We, the partners here on this project, we sorted through all of that input and analyzed it. And we actually came together for a 2-day workshop in Akron to do that work in person together. And through that process, we identified, as you can see here, some core themes in what we were hearing from the community. I'm going to run kind of quickly through this for time, but ranging from there being no unified message or shared data on trees to gaps in knowledge, gaps in resources, the need for volunteer opportunities to be super clear and accessible, practical things being missing from the equation, actual tools and equipment if we want, private citizens to step up and help us in this space. And finally, residents shared they have trust issues with the city, and related to that would like to see more follow through, more collaboration, coordination across the city and organizations. Next slide. So we're here to demo a tree-related tool we've been working on. This is the first unveiling of it. It's in mock-up form, and we welcome input on that. That's part of the intention of today, I think. It's not a tool that's going to solve every theme I enumerated a moment ago, but it will help with a couple things here. Establishing that shared community-wide data resource, enabling organizations like KAB, who's with us today, to intentionally and strategically target private property tree planting, right? Especially in low canopy areas where trees are sorely needed. Empowering our own residents to explore the canopy in their area, maybe even on their own parcel, and gain actionable data and information from that. And it's going to complement existing efforts, which we will talk about in a bit. I'll circle back on that. But right now, I want to cue and thank Austin Zhang from Google for his work on this tool. We're going to see a video demonstration right now from him.
Hello, my name is Austin Zhang, and I am a software engineer at Google. Today, I will be giving you a demo of the Akron tree canopy solution, Canopy Connect, which was built in collaboration with the City of Akron, Keep Akron Beautiful, Center for Public Impact, and Google.org. This digital solution is intended to address some key challenges and ideas that the City of Akron, Keep Akron Beautiful, community members, and organizations highlighted during the public engagement phase of this project. So the first point is the greatest opportunity for reversing the tree canopy decline in Akron is on private land. But resources and data are needed to empower residents and organizations to explore and target the opportunity. Second, there's no shared community resource or tools for tree canopy data, but shared data will be helpful for residents and organizations. Number 3, data needs to be informative, actionable, and connected to available resources for improving the tree canopy coverage in the City of Akron. I will walk us through how we're addressing these 3 areas in the demo. The user of this solution will arrive at the website and click on the link Canopy Connect. This will lead the user to a tree canopy exploration tool where the user can visualize the tree canopy in Akron. They can also search for their address to explore the canopy in their neighborhood. For this demo, I will use an address in Akron. Once I type in the address and hit enter or the search icon, the tool will update to show me the tree canopy coverage in the searched area. The various colors on the map capture the density of the tree canopy coverage, with lighter shades representing the lower density and darker shades representing the higher density of trees. In addition to visualizing the tree canopy coverage, the user will also be able to see more detailed data associated with the tree canopy near the searched address. For instance, the user is able to view the tree canopy planting potential under all parcel level areas in the City of Akron. To increase visibility and education around the benefits of tree canopy, we're also providing information regarding the resources available to plant trees. Examples include a guide to planting trees, sign up for tree giveaways, registering trees after they've been planted, and recommendations of which trees to plant based on user interests, such as fruit trees or native trees. There are also links to the Akron Tree Commission website for more information. And that concludes my demo for Canopy Connect today. We're thankful to everyone on the team that contributed to this project and are excited for all the benefits it brings for the City of Akron. Thank you.
Thank you, Austin.
Hello, my name is Austin Zhang, and I am a software engineer at Google.
Thank you for sharing that. This prototype is not yet ready for launch, but if we think ahead, we wanted to share some metrics we'll be keeping our eye on after this is active and available to the public. That includes, unique visitors, users of the tool, private property tree planting, right? This is one of several resources that we're trying to build intended to help catalyze that tree planting. So we want to be tracking that, and then overall tree canopy growth. We're going to shift gears slightly as we wind down here and put the Canopy Connect tool that you've seen into a little bit of a larger context for everyone. Emma Segedy from KAB is going to help us do that. Next slide.
So as I mentioned previously, it was essential for us to hear from a wide variety of voices reflecting the diversity of perspectives, experiences, and concerns within our city. We understood that solving the tree issue requires more than a one-size-fits-all approach. So before diving into the bigger picture, it's important to highlight a few specific quotes from Akron residents about some other needs and concerns. A few are, "Give me the tools, give me the trees, and give me the space to plant the trees. People need to know what to do about trees on their property. And I would plant a tree on my property, but I don't have the funds to pay for the tree or take care of it." We truly value and acknowledge the voices and needs of the community, and we're super excited about, working on solutions that address them. These quotes I just shared are a small sample of the many thoughts, concerns, and ideas about trees that we've received from residents. So now I'm going to hand it back over to Casey, who will provide more insight into the bigger picture.
Next slide. Thank you. So yeah, you get a sense from Emma, right? We heard a real spectrum of challenges and ideas from Akronites. You can see that reflected here too. We heard about resource gaps, residents worried, for instance, about trees on their property, but without resources to afford tree assessments, tree care, that can be prohibitively expensive. And that was a major learning that's come out of this program for me, right? The Canopy Connect tool you've seen a first draft of today, that's one solution, one piece of the puzzle. There are so many other challenges and potential solutions here, some of them very related and complementary. I'm going to point out knowledge gaps as a concern. Using the Canopy Connect tool to realize the opportunity for tree planting in your neighborhood or even on your own parcel, that's great. But if you don't know how to properly plant a tree or care for it, then the data solution only goes so far. And on that note, the city actually recently produced a series of short instructional videos on how to plant a tree. So that's multimedia we can now leverage going forward to help fill that knowledge gap. So there's other work happening in this space. I want to give Keep Akron Beautiful a chance to illuminate some of this for us. They've been working very hard already and have high hopes for future opportunities here.
So Keep Akron Beautiful's working on a variety of solutions, from showcasing the videos that Casey talked about on how to properly plant a tree to applying for private property tree planting funding from multiple organizations in Akron and nationally, and to provide opportunities for volunteer tree plantings. We just did a couple of plantings a few weeks ago with Akron Public Schools. And we're also planning a tree fundraiser called Tree Trivia, where we can raise money locally here in Akron for the trees and everyone can contribute. We also recently released a tree tracker on Keep Akron Beautiful's website, so residents can tell us where they're planting trees at now. And you can check that out to track all of the trees that have been planted in the city this year. So we're trying to make strides on lots of different ways that we can help Akronites with the tree canopy. Turn it back over to Casey.
Thanks, Jackie. And that really concludes our presentation. So thanks everyone for hanging with us at the end here. And I'll probably hand it over to Giselle to wrap up. Sorry.
No worries. That was absolutely phenomenal. Give it up for yourselves, Akron team. That was great. I'm going to go ahead and start closing us out. We just want to give a huge warm congratulations to all of our teams. We're so proud of the work that you've done, and the innovation that you've displayed today is just so inspiring. So give virtual applauses, hearts, throw things in the chat. And as I promised earlier today, if you want to learn more about any of the products that you have learned about today, if you have any questions, any thoughts, if you want to share feedback, here are the emails for the wonderful program leads. You also have our TOPC account below. So topc@centerforpublicimpact.org if you want to get in contact. My email is giselle@centerforpublicimpact.org as well if you want to reach out and connect. And we're going to go ahead now and shift on over to our closing remarks from the Knight Foundation. So it's my pleasure to welcome Lynn Murphy. I mentioned again, Knight is a wonderful partner. Really, there's not a better way to describe them. They really approach their work and their investment in communities so well. They center engaged, inclusive, equitable communities, and it's led by local expertise and lived experience. So Lynn really embodies this as a program director. She's actually there in person with the team, so shout out Lynn. And she joined the Knight Foundation as a program director in 2017, but for years has been involved with the Knight Foundation's Macon Community Advisory Committee. She's worked on initiatives like the Connect to Complete pilot that boosts digital literacy and internet access throughout middle Georgia. And she's also held so many previous leadership roles in government affairs and marketing. So with that, Lynn, I'm going to hand it over to you to provide some closing remarks.
Thanks, Giselle. I have to say, I'm delighted to reporting live to you from Macon-Bibb County, Georgia. I am honored to represent Knight Foundation and Kelly Jen. Kelly regrets she's not here for this closeout. And I have to say, as I've listened to all the presentations, I really regret she is not here, because to me, this is the perfect reflection of who she is and like what her jam is. Because on one hand, she is a very data-driven scientist, is a big believer in civic tech. On the other hand, she is a big advocate for communities, and she knows that one of Knight Foundation's priorities is vibrant and thriving communities that puts residents at the center of their planting and at the center of their planning. And so this project is just a perfect representation of Kelly leveraging her personal expertise and her personal network and pulling off something really amazing for all of our cities. I want to send a special thank you to CPI, to the Beck Center, to the other Lynn in the room. If she's still on, I have delighted in being the other Lynn when I am around Lynn Overman, Google.org. And lastly, I want to send a shout out to all the cities. I mean, anytime that Macon, Georgia can partner with Akron and St. Paul and Miami, I think it's a win for all of us. And so I'm delighted that we are wrapping up TOPC 3.0 together. It's been a great journey. I'm really excited to see this work continue. And I love the thought that we all have started this journey together. So thanks to all for your great work and looking forward to more outcomes.
Thank you so much, Lynn. Again, really appreciate you. Also, we have John Bograd in the audience, and I want to give him a huge shout out. He has been our contact at Knight, fearlessly championing for us behind the scenes. So just, again, a big kudos. Kelly Jen, who couldn't be here. There's so many other names, but I promise to close this out, and I'm trying to do it on time. So we're going to go ahead and shift to the next slide. And here's what's next for TOPC. So we wanted to share a little bit more if you wanted to stay engaged with the program. We're working on a couple things in the next few months. So we have a series of articles that are coming out from CPI and Beck that highlight the impactful stories from this year and previous cohorts. We have in the new year, we're going to be coming out with a report that features case studies and lessons learned from this year, along with a toolkit on how to run your own TOPC cycle in your community if you're interested. Last but not least, we are also going to be launching a community of practice that is going to be emerging. The Beck Center is going to be hosting a dashboard of all TOPC digital tools, resources, the templates that these teams have used. And it's really going to be a platform for community connection. So stay tuned to hear more about the incredible products that these teams are launching. Stay tuned for those publications and our community of practice. And again, if you want to get in contact, you could probably figure out my email. You have my TOPC account email, and we will be sending all of this via email. So you will have all the information. So with that, we are going to shift to the last slide, which is just a huge thank you to the entire reason that we are here today. This is the end of the 2024 TOPC Demo Day. Thank you to everyone that is listed here, those who also are not. Thank you to our incredible counties, our cities, our community partners, our residents who have given us feedback, our technologists, all the leaders who really brought such great energy and passion to this process and to this work. And you've all really created really powerful tools that are going to do good in your community. So I hope that you are all celebrating. I hope that you enjoy the rest of your day. And with that, we have formally concluded TOPC with a minute over. Thank you all so much. Please take care of yourselves. Enjoy the rest of your day and hope to see you all in the future. Thank you.